What is up? What is up? What is up? It is July 27th, 2026, and it is time for another episode of Apex to Asphalt. I'm Darryl Kinsey Jr. Christopher Lehman is with me. Good to see you virtually again, sir. I think it's the first
Yeah,
time we've been on since the wedding.
yeah, it is. Congratulations yet again. You still haven't cashed the check, by the way.
It should have been cashed. I definitely have.
Oh boy, it hadn't hit my account yet. So, hey, the best money is money that doesn't come out of my account.
Well, let me make sure because I definitely hit that on Wells Fargo, so I will check that again. Um,
Let's keep it on the down low. You
yeah,
got the
well,
money and it didn't come out of my account. Let's leave it there.
okay. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that part later. But not a lot in the racing world this weekend. But we do have to get to the latest comings and goings in the International Hot Rod Association
Yes.
issue. We will get to that tonight. We've also got Formula One, some motocross, and NASCAR to get to. We're going to take a very quick break. Then we'll be right back and get into the show. Sit tight.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, we've got some race recaps to get to before we fly into the show. And we'll start with Formula One, where Lando Norris delivered a dominant performance in Hungary to pick up his first win of the 2026 season.
And round 8 of the AMA Pro Motocross Championship sent us to the Pacific Northwest, where Cole Davies swept the 250 motos, and the Lawrence brother each picked up a moto win in the 450s, with Hunter just edging out Jet for the overall win.
And finally, reigning Craftsman Truck Series champion Corey Heim gets his second win and just his 15th career Cup start in the Cup Series in the Brickyard 400, continuing 2311's dominance at the Speedway with back-to-back wins. Hey, we want to hear from you during the show. Drop a comment or a question, and we'll bring it right into the conversation as we go tonight. So, Chris, let's go ahead and get started, and we are going to begin with that AMA motocross action in Spring Creek.
That was last week.
I'm sorry.
Yep, that's okay. Yeah, so Cole Davies had a weekend to forget in Spring Creek, which was round 7. And it was overall a 27-point swing. He was up 2 points over Levi Kitchen. Just has an absolute terrible, no good, very bad day, and ends up 25 points down from Levi Kitchen. So that's a 27-point swing. This weekend here, Davies came out swinging, won both motos, whereas Levi Kitchen finished P6 in both motos. So now Davies is only down 7 points to Levi Kitchen in the standings, and there's only 3 rounds left, so this is anybody's game.
Yep, one of those rounds will be coming here to Maryland at the end of the month. The 250 class is wide open now that a certain Deegan is no longer there. beating the crap out of everybody. And speaking of Deegan in the 450s, we were wondering how he was going to do this season, and he really picked up where he left off. He's in a great third position as the points sit now behind the Lawrence brothers, who, as we said earlier, each picked up a win at Spring Creek. But Deegan had a rough weekend. Held on to P3 in the championship, but as we said, he's impressed so far in the 450s and holding his own in a brand new class.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty much expected that he would come in and be right there with the Lawrence brothers. So I don't think we're going to say that he's exceeding expectations. He's meeting what we expected.
Mm-hmm. Come up to the mic a little bit. For some reason, the sound keeps going out.
How's that?
That's better. So in the most recent round, which was Washougal as well, that was round 8. The Lawrences did finish 1 and 2. Jorge Prado was 3rd, but Hayden Deegan in Moto 1, a strong 4th place in that event. And then
after wrecking, he had the whole shot, dumped it, and then came back 38th to 4th, I think is what it was.
That's an incredible run to go from 38th to 4th in the 450s.
His I believe his average, or maybe not his average lap time, but at least maybe his fast lap was 2 seconds faster than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that type of behavior certainly is beholden to somebody who goes 38th to 4th.
Yeah.
So
still looking for his first win in the 450s, but he has been in the top 5 since the start of the season. As far as the overall is concerned, in 450 class Moto 2, he finishes 2nd, right behind, guess what, Hunter Lawrence, and sandwiches the Lawrence brothers, who had kind of a down year last year, but this year they're back to where they usually are, which is spanking everybody outside.
Yeah, I mean, Jet got hurt, so this is the first we're seeing him back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we knew what the outdoor season was going to look like. The Lawrence brothers were just going to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see how everything meshes together this fall, when everything comes back together for the final segment of the year. But
the Super Motocross playoffs.
Yep. And but no, I think Deegan is probably meeting his expectations. I think he came in expecting to regularly compete for podium positions, and that's what he's doing. So I think he's probably meeting his own expectations. I don't think he came in and expected realistically to come in and just run away with it like he did in the 250 West for his last couple of years in Supercross. So I think he's doing what he expected.
Meanwhile, in 250s at Washougal, Cole Davies, Ryder DiFrancesco, and Chance Hymas were the Moto 1 podium. Cole Davies, one of our favorites, one of the guys that still rides the whoops the old-fashioned way in Supercross. Not many of those out here in the or not a lot of those out there, of course, in the outdoor ranks, but not a good Moto 2 at all for Cole Davies. He finishes a lowly 13th. While Chance Hymas picks up the win from Levi Kitchen and Carson Mumford in Washougal. So that was in
that was Spring Creek.
Spring Creek, and in Washougal in the 250s.
It was Cole Davies swept him.
Cole Davies bounces back.
Yeah, and that's where Kitchen finished P6 both times in both motos. So that gave Davies a 20-point jump on him. So now he's only Davies is only down 7.
So those guys are on a well-deserved break. They will be back August 15th in Unadilla.
Yeah.
So, New Berlin, New York. And then they'll be in my neck of the woods for Budds Creek Motocross Park, which Budds Creek has had a lot of action this year on the national motorsports stage. They had the NHRA down earlier. They've got Budds Creek coming in for AMA. And then we will have the Ironman National to wrap up the season at Ironman Raceway at Crawfordsville, Indiana. Last year, they hosted the World Championships in Crawford, so Budds Creek got to end the season. This year, the schedule is back to its traditional dates
Oh,
and
nice.
then we go back into the Super Motocross playoffs. And now that we've got a slow show, Chris, or slow day or weekend of racing, we go into now having the Super Motocross playoffs for about 3 or 4 years now. We've had the conversation about playoffs and motorsports to death. Thank you, NASCAR. But each
Now Repco
motorsport,
Supercars.
yeah, we have to have the conversation there. But
NASCAR
each
drops
motorsport,
it. Supercars picks it up.
yep, and each motorsport is different. How do we feel about the Supermoto Cross playoffs in AMA? Because I think it's unique because it takes the points from outdoor and indoor and kind of creates a full season overall style champion.
Yeah. I'm indifferent on it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And even kind of looking at supercars as well. It's not like it's the sudden death one race takes everything.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at supercars, you got three races over the weekend. It's only a 440. So you got 3 races over the weekend, and so last year Feeney came in absolutely dominant. We're not going to talk about it, but same thing with the playoffs in motocross. It's not winner takes all one event. If you have one bad race, that is not your season blown.
Mm-hmm.
So I can live with it when it's like that. You know what I mean? Like the Super Bowl's fun, but give me the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, I also like it because it preserves the Supercross and Motocross championships still as their thing.
Yep.
As the main titles for the rest of the season. And then the Super Motocross playoffs are like the end of the season kind of all-star event where they're running for a pretty big monetary prize at the end of the year, and that bragging rights of saying overall through both disciplines,
correct,
I'm the best.
Correct.
And we saw it last year when Hayden Deegan pretty much resorted to terrorism supercross.
He did.
To try to win the Super Motocross title last year.
Yep.
He basically had to cause a crash to try to win it, which
that's what
I don't know about the legality. I don't know what AMA would have done. I think he was in that situation of I'm gonna make AMA make the call.
Yeah, I mean you got to say it's those guys that are going to push the boundaries and let somebody else figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are the ones that you talk about as legends.
Yes.
No one cares about the guy that came in second place because he followed the rules right. We care about the guy who full sends it into a corner and it's questionable, but he says someone else is figuring it out.
Yep.
So I love it personally. But
I love it too.
I wouldn't have the flag up behind me if I didn't love it, right?
Oh, that guy loves making the calls.
That guy is the king of somebody else will figure it out.
Yep. Even Jeff Gordon back in his early days. Although
Exactly.
back then it was more of the veterans are going to take you behind the garage during practice and say, hey, cut that shit out.
That was in 14:3 picture too.
Yeah.
Not widescreen, high def, 4K slow-mo.
Yeah. Carson Hocevar is now that guy in Cup now. He has a laundry list of folks that
You know what? I actually read that he's starting to get booed a lot in driver intros.
Because people are starting to get tired of the gimmick.
Yep.
It's getting to a point where
you can only
running into a bunch of people and you don't win. People get tired of that shtick.
Yep. You can only ride the Dente for so long.
Yep. So the AMA guys are getting a much-needed break before their final run into the season. Another group that is coming up to a break, and they are probably thankful for it, is Formula One, as they came to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lando Norris, welcome to your championship defense, finally. Picks up the win on Sunday. But Ferrari...
to get here.
I know, right? But Ferrari Ferrari. I wish Michael was still here because he would back me up on this.
He'd be the most brutal out of everybody.
They are not a World Drivers' Championship winning organization right now.
And they have
I think we've said that to death.
Time.
No.
And it transcends team principles at this point. There's something organizationally and structurally wrong.
Well, it starts at the top. When you have this much ineptitude, it starts with the CEO who comes out and blasts the drivers for some reason when they're talking about the deficiencies with the car. Dude, we don't even know who your name is. I thought Fred Vasseur was the CEO of Ferrari, basically.
No, he's not. He's just team principal.
Yeah. Like, who's this guy running his mouth? And nobody knows who you are. But anyway.
I really hate to say it,
mm-hmm.
but you know who would turn that into a championship organization next year?
I'm going to assume it's a guy that's not working right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think if you let Horner go in there and do whatever he wanted to do, and you were just like, we'll take the assault allegations if it gets us a championship, I think Horner probably gets you a championship your first year. Yeah. Ferrari has everything but the arguably the most important part, which is the intelligence to deploy all of your resources. That's what they're missing.
Yeah.
But Horner's English, so he'll never get hired.
Yeah, probably not. The issue with Ferrari, it started in qualifying. Lewis Hamilton qualifies second, has probably his best qualifying effort of the season. In Q3, as he's coming out, they don't tell him Oscar Piastri is coming on a flyer until way too late. Gets a three-place grid penalty at the start of the race due to impeding. Goes back to fifth. And then, of course, it's Ferrari strategy during the actual race. They stay with the hards too long. Lewis ends up getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. They don't tell him until far too late. They allow Charles Leclerc to get close enough to him so that when they cross the finish line, Lewis goes from fourth back to his starting position of fifth. I would like to remind you, Lewis Hamilton is second in the championship. Yep. And fighting Kimi Antonelli for a championship right now. And this is the cards he's dealt for a strategy group.
Yep.
Maybe they are the Teletubbies sitting back. Maybe it would be better if they did put the Teletubbies back there. I don't know if you saw Toto's comments.
No, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and that was in reference to Carlos Sainz to drive like an idiot. He ran into Oscar Piastri while being a lap down. Carlos. And Carlos ignores like 7 blue flags during the race.
That's what everybody was complaining. I heard Max's. Did you hear him put some emphasis on that morons?
I did hear that.
Oh,
he was not happy.
But everybody, I didn't get the opportunity to watch the race, but I saw that everybody was complaining about the lack of acknowledgement of blue flags. And it wasn't just one driver or 2 drivers. It was like everybody was disregarding blue flags.
Oh, the lap cars were horrendous at Hungary. I don't know what was going on. I actually didn't have internet until like 11 o'clock on Sunday because something happened with the cable outside the house.
Oh,
so they had to come in and run a new cable from the box from the utility whatever outside underground to the box. They have to come put the wire underground now. The joys of home ownership I'm experiencing.
They should cover that though.
They will. It's no cost to us because it's their issue.
Yep.
So they'll have to come out and dig to put the line back underground, and then we'll go from there. But
I'm praying for a lifetime of that's their issue for your journey as a
homeowner. Same, because I've seen it watching my mother deal with stuff with our various houses, and it's like, please don't let this be an issue I have to come out of pocket for, because this stuff is ridiculous. Anyway, what's also ridiculous is Ferrari just not understanding the situation that they're in when it comes to who they should be prioritizing going into the season. This is like a dumber version of Papaya rules that they're doing.
It's like Papaya rules without the competence to manage the team everything
Yeah.
but the drivers. Your drivers are the one thing that don't really need managing.
No.
Everything else pretty much needs micromanaging.
Yep.
But you have Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. You're okay driver wise.
Yeah. You got those drivers, you're good. You've got a decent, actually a really good car. The strategy component continues to elude them.
And it will for a long time.
On the other, speaking of eluding them, we've talked at length about Aston Martin's issues. The B-Spec car comes in. They got to 13th and 14th, which is a marked improvement.
That's huge considering they were like 5 seconds off the pace earlier this year.
They were slower than GP2 cars at Silverstone. Yeah. That was a legitimate situation.
Yep.
Like, we're not even making that up.
They were talking starting parks because of the vibrations.
Yeah, it was an awful start to the season. While they've kind of got their car into competence, Williams has given up on the 2026 season.
Yeah.
They've waved the white flag. They have upgrades coming for Baku, but those upgrades are likely not to improve the team's standing this year, which means they are now preparing for 2027. And Chris, it's hard to, not look at Williams' season as a failure, given how much they put into preparing for this car as they shut down upgrades early last year. But now this puts them on the back foot for the rest of this cycle of development.
Yeah. I don't even have I honestly don't really have anything nice to say about Williams. I think that's really the only thing I can say about that. Yeah, I mean, they basically waved the flag in 24 on 25 and said, we're just going straight to 26. And here we are. And they started out good. Remember, like, they started out with like top 10s and stuff like that, and they were getting points every week. And then they've just faded.
Yes.
Which kind of expected. But I don't know. It's not surprising. It's not surprising that the good teams always stay out front no matter how the regulations change. They always figure out a way to be out front. And teams like Williams and Haas always end up finding a way to be at the back.
The cream is always going to rise to the top in Formula One, and everything else is everyone else is going to slide back to Formula 1.5. But you got to feel for Williams. This is a storied team that really since the turn of the century cannot find the footing to get back to the top of the heat, because they used to be right there with McLaren. For those that are coming in late to the party in Formula One, when Chris and I were growing up, Williams and McLaren were the two privateer teams always battling with the constructors the entire time. And unfortunately, McLaren, thanks to their car company branding, continued, although they had some notable downturns in the mid-2000s, while Williams just went straight to the back of the grid, and it's sad.
McLaren they went downhill, but then they got a young hotshot man named Lewis Hamilton.
Yes.
And a good driver can turn a team around.
And then
but with
that
Williams,
driver left, and they had some issues, and now they kind of are trying to come back with Lando and Oscar, but
we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, well, we think they're going to lose at least one of them.
Yep.
Because we think Oscar's on the move next season.
Probably. But Williams, I mean, they sold to private equity, and they're just staying at the bottom.
Yep.
They've kept the name, but that's it.
Yeah, it's Williams in name only, and it's sad.
Yep.
But we do have some positive news. The Sepang Grand Prix, Malaysian Grand Prix, is technically coming back this year, Chris. I think you saw this. With the continued instability in the Middle East, the Bahrain Grand Prix has officially been called off, replaced by Malaysia. But they're still going to call it the Bahrain Grand Prix because Bahrain is footing the bill for Malaysia to host the race.
And the trophy's already made.
So it's going to be the Malaysian Grand Prix
Presented by
Bahrain. That's what I'm calling it.
I love it.
Because it's going to get way too confusing to call it the Bahrain Grand Prix all weekend. I don't know what they're going to do for TV. Do you think they call it Bahrain all weekend?
They're going to have to. It'll be the Bahrain GP at, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to be so weird for them to try to work that out. And I know there's going to be a swear jar for calling it the Malaysian Grand Prix.
I don't know. Like, I feel like when, like, someone like Crofty is so the consummate professional, I think he's going to, like, I don't think you'll hear someone like him slip up.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he's too good at what he does. So I don't think that we'll have an issue with commentators calling it the wrong thing. Martin Brundle, sure, he's definitely gonna get it wrong. But
Yeah.
I don't think like Crofty, if Crofty's doing it, because he's not doing every race anymore, but if he's doing it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, they still have to figure out what they're gonna do for Saudi Arabia. And when and if they're going to put that race back on the schedule, which, as late as we are, there are not a lot of good spots to put it.
Watkins-Glen, New York.
It would be interesting if they ran there. They could run the boot.
You know what I would like to see, actually? I'd like to see a double Coda. Coda puts on a good race.
I think they don't want to do it, but they're probably going to have to go back to COVID protocol. Well, no, they can't. They have to go to Mexico that next week.
Yeah.
Because that's a triple header.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to come in a week early.
But
I don't think you can do that trying to get everything from Singapore.
I would love to see 2 Codas.
A double Coda would be nice.
It really would. Because that just always puts on such a good show.
Coda is a great racetrack, and it's really
for Formula
cemented
1.
itself.
Actually, you know, it's not half bad for NASCAR.
Now that they've gone to the short version, but even the GP version had a pretty good run for NASCAR, although we're not going to get into NASCAR fans and how they feel about tracks, so we've got to do that with NASCAR in a bit. But next week, as it is going to be, we only have one series running, which is Repco Supercars. We're going to dive deeper into heading into the summer break, which teams we are pleasantly surprised by this year and which teams we are disappointed by, and what we look forward to as far as driver moves for the rest of the year.
I don't want to take part in that conversation, Darryl.
I know, because that guy back there,
yep,
trying to focus here, that guy right there is kind of going to be the central figure for all of this, and one of those dominoes already fell because Isaac Hadjar has re-signed.
Yep.
For a long-term deal.
Yep.
Before we take a break, I do want to update everyone on a story I picked up on last week, which is the current situation with the International Hot Rod Association. As of now, most International Hot Rod Association race sanctioning series have ceased operations due to a lack of funds. There have not been a lot of comments from Darryl Cuttle, who did own the IHRA. However, a lot has come out from news organizations like Cycle Drag and Competition Magazine discussing the issues with Darryl Cuttle, the lack of payment, and the fact that, Chris, a lot of series have not seen payments for weeks. I know that the IHRA stock car guys haven't seen payment for their last event back in June. The Triple Crown Nitro Outlaw Series, those checks didn't cash. And it's not just that, and this is the infuriating part. There are vendors, safety crews, sponsors, all of whom have not been paid, to the point that there is a Facebook group that is now formed. I'm going to try to show you this. Called Darryl Cuttle IHRA Owes Me Money. And it started with about 300 people. It has since grown to include some 538 former IHRA employees that have made comments about the IHRA and what has been going on with their lack of payment. There's also a lot of comments that I will go through and try to bring to you next week that have been posted by individuals in that group about some of the goings-ons. I've sent Chris some of those emails that I've just happened to come across in my travels, and this is disappointing, and it's to the point now where I don't feel bad for the guy. I feel really bad for the folks that are not getting paid right now because of you overextended when you shouldn't have.
Yep, absolutely. And they realistically won't see any money.
No.
That's the unfortunate part.
When this does hit the bankruptcy court, the employees are usually the last to get paid if there's any money left from the sale. So, and the unfortunate part is what's going to happen to all those racetracks in the drag racing side. Are they going to be sold off to people who want to make racetracks? Or are there going to be more data centers coming your way?
Yeah, good question. I guess it depends on the surrounding land.
Yeah.
How much they can get. Because, like, those tracks aren't big enough for what they want. You know, they want huge facilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll all depend on what the neighborhood looks like.
So you ponder that. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to get into NASCAR. Talk a little bit about racing in Indianapolis and get into a poignant conversation about the inevitability of death and how that affects NASCAR.
And
talk about that.
NASCAR's back, baby.
Yeah,
new lawsuit dropped today.
Another one?
Yep. NASCAR has filed suit against an undisclosed number of companies for trademark infringement and selling unauthorized merchandise. Filed today.
Ooh, we're finally getting into taking down that market. We'll talk about that on the side of this break here on Apex Asphalt on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And we're back here on Apex Asphalt on iSports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Darryl and Chris back with you this evening, and we're going to get into NASCAR 3. NASCAR versus counterfeiters, as Chris just said. Chris, why don't you bring us up to speed?
I mean, there's nothing right now. They've just they have filed with the Western District of North Carolina, Charlotte Division. And all we have is a 20-page filing, really, is all we've got so far. And as stated, they're just going after an undisclosed number of companies for trademark infringement and selling unauthorized merchandise. and this just broke about 7:39 p.m., which is probably about when the court everything updated for the day. Um, but yeah, this will be one to keep our eyes on because it's been a long time coming.
It is about time that someone is taking it to the counterfeit goods industry. I don't know if you've looked at your Facebook ads recently, but they are a wash in just straight up fake NASCAR gear or sports memorabilia gear to begin with at this point. So I know this is a hard fight for most sanctioning bodies, and we're not going to agree eye to eye on a lot of things sanctioning bodies do, but I will agree with taking on that knockoff market, because you think you're getting something that is certified official, and you find out it's a knockoff, and that sucks. And some people like to overprice those knockoffs too. So I'm glad that these people are finally getting taken to task.
Yeah, and I won't buy from even third party websites that are claiming to sell authentics.
Mhm.
I will only buy from teams or NASCAR themselves.
So it's been a active year for litigation for NASCAR. We all know about the original NASCAR, with them settling with 2311 and Denny Hamlin. We still have the ongoing lawsuit between Spire Motorsports and Chris Gabehart. Or sorry, not Chris Gabehart. Between Spire and JGR over Chris Gabehart and how he moved to the team. There was the lawsuit in 2025 between Legacy and Rick Ware Racing over a charter. That part of the suit got settled.
Did
but
you
they are
hear?
suing TJ Putcher over that dispute.
Did you hear Denny Hamlin on Action Sacramento?
Yeah, I heard him refer to Spire as a 2311 satellite team.
Joe Gibbs
satellite team,
Racing satellite team. Yeah.
He doesn't pull his punches, does he?
No, he does not. But I love it.
Yes.
I was never a Denny Hamlin fan until he got his own podcast, and I was like, okay, I like this guy.
Yeah, that seems to help a lot of drivers getting that podcast.
Well, some of them. It did not help Corey LaJoy.
No, I think that kind of dimmed his spark when he started getting on there.
And it would certainly hurt Kyle Larson 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You give that man a mic and he gets himself into trouble.
I don't think. Well, he's been on iRacing, but I think ironically he does mute his mic now.
That'd be for the best.
Ironically,
I think.
So another shoe that dropped this week is the fact that Alex Bowman is going to retire at the conclusion of the 2027 season. Alex sat down with Jeff Gluck for an interview, and some of those highlights include Bowman actually intended to retire this year. Hendrick Motorsports did approach him to keep the seat warm for next year, as the driver prospect market will be a lot more open next year. More on that in a bit. And Chris, I didn't realize this. Bowman is still rehabbing that back injury from the sprint car wreck, and then he aggravated it at Michigan a couple of years ago. He's still in pain to this day. It reminds me a lot of what happened with Jeff Gordon when he went into the wall at Pocono, I think in 2007, when the brakes failed, and he screwed up his back, and he was never the same after that.
Backs are just one of those things, man. You mess up your back and you're done.
Yes.
That's just, there's no coming back. It's so improbable to come back from a back injury. Back, neck, anything with your spine is just, it's game over. And those don't heal. So I was not surprised to see him, mention that. Because he was, you break your back, you're messed up.
Yep, I know Jimmy Johnson also had his back injury that basically took him out of contention.
Yep.
And it just seems like those back injuries, that they get you.
Yep, they will. Absolutely they will.
So we head into the 48. Oh, also, Bowman, which I found this interesting. He had already decided that he was not going to run into his 40s. He wanted to focus on building a family. He just got engaged recently, so he's looking at life after motorsports.
Yeah, apparently, early in his career, he made arrangements with his financial planner so that he could retire in his mid-30s. So he's 33, so he's pretty much right on schedule with where he wanted to be. So, yeah, he wanted to focus on building a family and non-NASCAR racing endeavors. So, dirt and drift, really. So I think this was inevitable, and he had only signed a contract that ran through the end of this season, and he said that he had every intention of retiring until HMS said, like, the 2027 driver market's not good. Can you keep it warm for another year? Especially after having vertigo earlier this year, running it back for a full season, I'm sure appealed to him.
And we go into, speaking of that 2027 driver market, these are the three favorites that we think to land that seat.
In 2028, not 2027.
Oh, sorry, in 2028.
Yep.
Sorry, misspelling there. Connor Zilic, of course, leading candidate. He has not had a great year at a track house that is floundering, and that's the best way of putting it. He is a free agent in 2028. We don't see Trackhouse letting him go, but there are conversations between the three parties. There's a lot of fans talking about they should buy him out and put him in the car next season, but with Bowman coming back for 2027, that's not going to happen.
And obviously Hendrick did not see that as a
feasibility
option because they approached Bowman about keeping it warm. So, but with the Chevrolet thing, I don't see HMS getting Zilic without Trackhouse getting some sort of compensation.
Trackhouse is going to need some increased support from Chevy or something to make that happen, because I just don't see them letting him go for peanuts.
Exactly. So, and reportedly, the conversations are already happening between Trackhouse, Zilic, and HMS, if you believe it. Which I think some pretty notable people have sourced that, so I would give it some weight.
Yep.
He's not the leading favorite for, that's not just conjecture.
Corey Day is the primary backup option if a deal cannot be reached with Zilic. Day was handpicked by Carl Larson and Jeff Gordon. Larson called him one of the most gifted sprint car talents of his generation. And Day has a lot of backing from Mr. H, tracing back decades. So if there is going to be a switch and they can't get Connor Zilic, I think Corey Day is your no-brainer.
Yeah,
in that car.
And it was his backing is unprecedented by decades. So Hendrick hasn't had a formal pipeline in decades, and Corey Day is the first person that is getting a formal pipeline by HMS. So there's a lot of weight there.
And it's so serious, they brought out their Xfinity program, or O'Reilly program, which they haven't had in
decades,
years, just for Corey Day.
Yes.
So if they can't get Zilic, I think Day's going to get into that car easily. And
it is worth noting that.
Go ahead.
It is worth noting that Day will end up at HMS at some point in his career.
Yes.
That you do not have Mr. H funding you like that if he is not fully intent on putting you in a car at some point. So
I will be driving a Hendrick car in some capacity.
I think Corey Day, out of all the drivers, he is probably my favorite to realistically land the 48. I think he gets it.
If he's not in the 48, I could see him getting Byron's seat at some point. I think that'd be the next guy. I think that's on shaky ground.
I don't know. We'll talk more about who I think is going to be the first out besides Bowman for similar reasons.
Gotcha. And the final realistic choice would be Roger Carruth. He's currently in the HMS Chevy development camp. He should end up in Cup at some point. He's had some great runs in O'Reilly this year when he's been in the 88. Unfortunately, he's had to split time between the 88 and the Jordan Anderson 32 this year. So he had a chance at the playoff or at the chase. I don't know if he's going to make it. I think he's in the 88 for the rest of the year, though. So he's got an opportunity, especially with Daytona coming up, to get in there and race for a championship. But I think he's going to be a long shot for the 28 with Zilich and Corey Day sitting out there. But there could be a seat opening up at Spire that he could transfer into. Or if Corey Day comes up in 2028, he gets a full-time ride there for Hendrick and lays in wait for whoever leaves Hendrick next.
Yeah. I think Corey Day and probably Raj Kruth are going to be future Chevy stars.
Mm-hmm.
Because Roger Kruth is definitely the full package. He is very marketable. He's very social media savvy. He gets results on the track. And I think he's generally admired, a weird word to use, but I think he is generally well liked by his competitors. He doesn't make headlines for the wrong reasons too often. So I think he ends up in Cup at some point. It's just whether it's with Spire or HMS. Personally, I think it'll be Spire. Which Spire's not a backmarker team anymore. So that's
they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team to get your start in.
So there is nothing wrong with racing at Spire.
Yeah. And I could see Michael McDowell getting let go for him if that happens. I think he's the weak link over there at this point.
Which he's got to be pushing retirement anyway.
He's getting close. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So a quick review of the race. Corey Heim wins. Not a lot happened during the race. We just started more conversation about whether or not Cup should be racing at Indy. My whole deal with all of that, because I think everybody has had their piece by now, this is just how Indy races in a stock car. But if you want to fix it with the next gen car, either give the cars 900 horsepower again or stop talking about it. Because we've done this conversation to death. We know the fix.
Oh.
NASCAR just needs to go do it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hmm?
I'm sorry. I refreshed my Twitter feed and I apologize, Darryl, but this is too good of a theory to pass up.
Uh-oh, what happened?
So Jimmy Johnson is running the 48 at the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Bowman does not have a number for the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
He's filming Days of Thunder 2.
Possibly.
He's going to be running a car for Days of Thunder 2.
I would love to see that.
That gives them a weird car number. Holy hell. That's a good theory.
Bowman could be they could be setting that car up to do the shots for.
I mean, like, he wouldn't be like in the movie, but he might be driving the car for it.
Yeah, he'll probably be doing the stunt driving.
Holy hell. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I kind of like that one because
I do too.
It's awfully convenient.
It really is. But I mean, they could also just stick any weird car in there too, though.
Yeah.
But that's a good one.
Well, according to what I've read, Mr. Hendrick and NASCAR had a conversation about that. Maybe that was brought up because it has been announced that movie is being made, but I don't think they've started shooting yet.
Well, it wouldn't. But if they're planning on filming it during the season, later this season and into next season,
mm-hmm.
because they could start filming the ending of it this year with the playoffs. or at least getting B-roll for it.
Yeah, they can probably start getting their B-roll stuff, so maybe they will start doing it. It'll be interesting to see.
Maybe we'll see a number 46 Ally Chevrolet.
If it's a 46, then yeah, it's going to be absolutely confirmed.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt. We'll have to see what it ends up being.
So it's been a while since Chris and I have been together, and unfortunately there was tragedy in NASCAR since then with the passing of Kyle Busch. And it really brings up the inevitability of death and how that's affected NASCAR. Is over the last 25 years, we've seen two first ballot Hall of Fame caliber drivers unfortunately lose their lives in different scenarios. Dale Earnhardt Sr. with the on-track incident at the Daytona 500, and then Kyle Busch with a quick bout with pneumonia that turned into sepsis. And it really, both incidents really changed how drivers viewed their lives. After Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s death, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Craven, and Mark Martin all noted that Earnhardt's death shattered their illusion of invincibility in racing. If Dale Earnhardt Sr. could perish in a crash, anybody could. And this was the zenith of a time where NASCAR was going through its killer years moment because they had lost Adam Petty in an incident. They lost Tony Roper later on in 2001 from a crash in the Truck Series. There was a driver in ARCA at Charlotte that passed away. 2000 saw 3 deaths in 1 year, including Adam that I mentioned. The veteran drivers really shifted the conversation around family longevity and career planning and began structuring their retirements to end really more into their early 40s than doing what most of the drivers were at that point, Chris, where they were running into their 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Before calling it quits.
Yeah. When something like that happens, I mean, they basically raced out their contracts and retired. I mean, there was a plethora of retirements in the 2 to 5 years following Senior's death, where a lot of those older drivers, they retired pretty promptly after he passed away.
And remember, Sterling Marlin had that wreck in 2002 when it looked like he was going to win the championship.
Yeah.
They kind of hastened him going into retirement.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, it just, that type of thing really, it just flips a switch. And it's not even flipping a switch for, 1 or 2 people. It's collectively across the sport. Everybody starts asking, is this worth it? What am I doing? What are my priorities? It really engages a conversation.
And I think Kyle Busch's death in 2026 brings in the health conversation into all of this because men do not like going to the doctor. It's a statistical fact. Kyle Busch had been dealing with that pneumonia as we knew about it as early as the Watkins Glen weekend, but that situation could have been going on for a couple of weeks prior to that. But it really shook everybody up on taking care of their medical well-being. I think Chase Briscoe was one example after that. He went to the doctor to get something checked out that he had been waiting on.
Yep.
I know myself, I have had some dental work that for monetary and then personal reasons have not had a chance to get to that I've gotten to now. I just got a full cleaning. I'm getting a filling replaced, getting back on my cleaning schedule. And that's important because your teeth are one of the most vital components in keeping yourselves healthy. Oral cancer is a mother. And gum disease can lead to all sorts of things. Oral cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, because the nerves in your teeth go straight to your brain. They're the closest connection between.
It's like this triangle.
Yep. That's like the most important triangle in your body.
Yeah. That's why, hey, Daryl, my conclusion is I hope everyone has a good week and don't forget to brush your teeth before bed. I mean, that's why I
Yep.
say it. You got to
And
take care.
I got the water pick now that I
There you
do
go.
before I brush my teeth to
There
get
you
all
go.
that stuff out of there. But I say all that to say drivers are reevaluating their priorities, especially now that we are in an era where a lot of these guys have kids. Some of them multiple. Joey Logano has like 5 kids now
Yeah.
because they
Probably,
adopted a couple.
probably more on the way, too. You never know.
I mean, they've started getting into the adoption thing, so yeah, you
He
might
just-
see 2 or 3 more.
He just committed to the ball, and it looks good. Probably another kid on the way.
Yep. So we know Denny Hamlin, and Denny Hamlin's just been through it this year with the tragedy of losing his dad. Joey Logano, Michael McDowell, Kyle Larson, all of them have kids. Bubba Wallace just had his second. Ryan Blaney just had his first. That's a lot of drivers that are now going to be contemplating, how do I take care of my health and how long do I want to keep doing this job? Because at the end of the day, NASCAR is one of the few sports where death is a real possibility week in and week out. We have gotten insanely fortunate with the safety features over the last 25 years that we haven't had anybody die on track. But medical is a whole nother story.
Yeah, and that just it kind of goes back to that, like especially like Joey Logano, who's well, actually, I meant to say Kyle Larson because Owens Racing. You know, Kyle Busch was definitely going to retire in the next probably 2 years to focus on Brexton.
We had it all planned out. He was gonna run till Brexton was 16, run a year in trucks, and then call it a career.
And now he's not. And I'm sure, especially the dads, had those conversations. Hey, once my kid turns X years old, I'm retiring and I'm just focusing on my kids.
Yep.
And those conversations are just going to be these powerful memories that those guys have, knowing Kyle was on the precipice of retiring to go race with his kids, and they're seeing Samantha posting and doing the best she can, and you know,
man, those posts are hard to read.
They are, man. They are tough.
I really feel for her.
And they're seeing those. And then you've got Bowman, who is essentially the first domino to fall and say, I don't have a family yet, but I'm retiring now to build one.
Yeah.
And that's, he straight up talks about it in the article with Gluff. He says, I'm retiring. I want to be a dad. I want to be a husband. And NASCAR is not it for me. Like, I've made my money. I'm out. Now, you know, Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano and Michael McDowell they're a little bit older, so they're probably, you know, in the retirement planning phase. But Kyle Larson's still young.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but and Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, what are the conversations that they're having, you know, with their families?
And McDowell, I looked it up, he's 41, so he's coming to the end himself.
Oh, yeah. So he's, yeah. Denny, he's coming down to the end too, because I mean he's kind of switching more into owner mode as the years go on anyway.
I do not see Denny running past 2028.
Yeah, I think
he's 45 now.
Yeah, I could see Denny Hamlin giving it one more year, running it back in 27 and saying, this is my last year. This is my last rodeo.
I will put this one out there and see if you agree. If he wins the championship,
he's done.
I think he calls it.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think he retires right there at Homestead.
You know what? I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if in the pre-show he says, like, whether I win it or not, this is my last full-time Cup parade.
Yep.
I could see that, because Denny's, I don't think he's the type of guy that wants the, you know, Jimmy Johnson year of goodbye.
No, he doesn't strike me as that type of guy. I think he's going to be, you know what he'll probably do? He'll win the championship and then announce it on Actions Detrimental the next day.
I wouldn't
That
be
sounds more
surprised.
his style.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him announce it before the race even starts
Yeah.
and just say, "This is it for me." Because I do think there's a kind of um, a letdown
Hmm.
to your fans that have been with you for 2 decades to just race and then say the next day I'm done. You know what I mean? I feel like you got to give them the, hey, this is the last time, so let's all enjoy it together type of deal.
But I think if he wins the championship and then the next day retires, I think his fans will come down a little
Yeah.
easier because at least you get to go out on top.
Yep.
I know being a Jeff Gordon fan, watching him finish third in the championship, even though they had a chance, they just didn't have the car that day when the sun went down in
Yep.
2015. Getting to watch him run for a championship one last time was pretty sweet.
Yep.
It was hard watching Jimmy Johnson those last couple of years where you're like, just call it, man. It
Where
was
his
so rough.
and where his win percentage went from like, I think it was like 30% of races he started he won, and then it dropped down to like less than 10%.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to see between now and basically, I think we're going to see a couple drivers not renew contracts and retire.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to announce retirement at the end of this year, short of like Hamlin or McDowell, who are probably at the end of their contracts anyway. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Logano, Larson, and basically anybody who's probably a dad with somewhat older kids.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised. Because, I mean, at that point, what are you doing? Like, Blaney's got 2 championships. What does he care?
Yep. Larson's got 2 championships. His legacy is secure at this point.
So, I mean, what do they really care? What's the difference between 2 and 3 at the end of the day, really?
I mean, at this point, you're going to get into the Hall of Fame with it. So what's the point of
Yeah.
continuing if you don't have to?
You're in the Hall of Fame. You've got all the money you'll ever need in your life. Your kids are set. One more, and you're a multi-champion. You're not breaking the record. You're not going for 7. So what's the point?
So we'll be monitoring that situation. And again, we want to pass on our condolences to the Busch family as they work through this unimaginable tragedy of losing Kyle Busch. I know I'll be at Richmond to see whatever memorial they put up and participate in the activities of remembering the guy we love to hate, which was Kyle Busch.
Yep.
And we definitely miss him.
Yes.
So next week, we're going to have a lot of topics that we have wanted to get to over the last couple of weeks. We're going to finally get to those because there's only one racing series next week, and that is the Bosch Power Tools. Stop scrolling, mouse. The Bosch Power Tools Perth Super 440 for the Repco Supercars. So we'll get into that and then get into a lot of the conversations that we've meant to have, some ideas for the World Endurance Championship, what some changes we would make to our favorite racing series, and a little more. So come out for that show next week. And Chris, tell them what to do.
I already said it once, but I'll say it again. Have yourselves a good week, and don't forget to brush those teeth before bed.
Have a good night, everybody. We will see you next time out on Apex Asphalt. Have a good one.